Paul Vallas joins us now, and you got a new piece out called "Fixing Four Myths About Chicago's Gunshot Detection Technology." We're talking about ShotSpotter here. ShotSpotter matters. You had a negative report coming from Northwestern, but let's start with the obvious, Paul Vallas, and that is that ShotSpotter technology has more criminal usage in neighborhoods where gunshots are fired. That seems logical to me.
That's right. Let me explain that ShotSpotter is a technology that allows the police to pinpoint the location of recent and active gunfire. This enables them to respond quickly. As you well know, I think WirePoints has reported that half the 911 calls that come in, high priority 911 calls, including shootings, do not respond, do not have a car available. So in other words, a call will come in and it might take a half an hour, or even longer for the police to respond. What ShotSpotter does is it alerts the police instantly to where the guns are being fired, and it pinpoints that location, and that allows the police to prioritize those responses. The police themselves report that ShotSpotter over the last 5 years has saved about 125 lives. And let me tell you how it does it. Because the police respond in real time, in quick time, a lot of times it allows them to saturate the area, dissipate the gunfire, because a lot of times the gunfire is part of an exchange. So that quick response sometimes can quell the shooting, the violence that's occurring. Of equal importance is their ability to respond quickly. If someone has been shot, the EMS response time, along with the police, is much quicker. So it saves lives. So the bottom line is this technology does save lives. It allows the police to pinpoint where the gunfire has occurred and respond in real time.
Yeah, and one of the things you write about of the four claims that need to be shot down here is that technology is not effective. Tell that to the 125 people who are alive, and tell that to the people who have cops coming into their neighborhoods because they picked up something on ShotSpotter, an extra patrol car in an era where we don't have enough cops on the street. They're going to be happy that the police are there. This clearly works. And the technology thing is, it's just a way for those who don't want it around to try to get rid of it.
Well, exactly. Look, it follows his decision to eliminate 833 police positions. He's talking about taking 400 positions and converting them to civilian positions. Be interesting to see who he hires. They've decided to remove the remaining police officers from the high schools and take it from a superintendent who has led the largest school districts in 4 different states. The presence of police on school campuses is critical to deter active shooters. The same week that he announced that he was supporting the board removing the remaining cops, there were, I think, over that 2-week period, there were 3 after-school shootings that resulted in 4 school-aged children being murdered, at the high school children. So at the end of the day, look, this is part of this anti-police, degrade the police, defund the police mentality. The research that claims that ShotSpotter is not effective, they basically claim that ShotSpotter is not leading to more arrests. The fundamental problem with the lack of arrests in the city is the city's inability to protect witnesses. So a lot of times when shots rang out, sometimes there will not even be a 911 call. So ShotSpotter allows the police to respond even if a 911 call does not come in. So rather than just jettison the technology, it's critical that you improve it. And let me point out, is it just a coincidence that he wants to keep it through the summer?
Right. After the convention, after the festivals.
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because it was supposed to go away, last week, Friday, or the Friday before that, and all of a sudden, conveniently, it's going through summer in the DNC. Let's talk about claim number 2, and that is that the ShotSpotter's methodology is used to defend against criminal cases in court if these people are caught. I would think that anything you could gain from the data you get from the ShotSpotter would be good in court. Is that true or false?
Well, for a city that has an arrest rate for violent crime at 5%, and if you don't get murdered in the city of Chicago, there's less than a 5% chance if you are shot that the crime is actually going to be solved. The inability to protect witnesses is, I believe, the fundamental reason. That and the shortage of police officers is the fundamental reason why the police arrest rates are so low, and they've been plummeting. Back in 2019, there was a 19% of the 911 calls that came in resulted in not having a car available at the time for a quick response. Now it's over 50%. So the problem with solving the police solving murders is the lack of detectives and the lack of an instant police response, a timely police response when they come in. So you're not going to improve the arrest rates until you hire enough police officers so that every police beat is covered and you have enough detectives to investigate these cases.
And last thing on this piece, which is I highly recommend you read from Paul Vallas, is the apparently cozy relationship between the ShotSpotter company and the police department. Wouldn't we want that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one would think that if you're hiring a company that it provides you with this, the ability to have quick response times to shootings, and that you would want to have a close relationship with that company so that you can improve the technology. Look, this is like the invention of the wheel. We may not have roads to have smooth travel, but that doesn't mean that you jettison the wheel. It's important that this technology evolve, but it's the typical response. They don't want to do facial recognition. They don't want the police to be able to use drones to perhaps track cars down instead of chasing people down a busy Chicago street. Or criminals down a busy Chicago street. They don't want to have ShotSpotter, which enables the police to respond more quickly to gunfire. At the end of the day, there's just this anti-police mentality. And
but let's call it what it is. This is more of the social change piece of this that's being pushed, as opposed to the push that should be going on for the greater good of all of us, and that is getting bad guys off the streets and taking care of victims. I'll keep saying it. I've said it a million times. You've said it, Paul Vallas. Keep saying it. I don't care what color you are. If you're a criminal, you're a criminal.
Right.
Well, the argument that most outrageous to me is that ShotSpotter discriminates because ShotSpotter is there are more shots fired that are being responded to in minority communities, particularly the black community. Ask the black community whether or not there's enough cops. Ask the black community whether or not the 911 calls are not being responded to in quick time. Unfortunately, because of their inability to protect witnesses, the people in the community are under siege, and they're afraid to call the police, not because they fear the police, but because they don't believe the police can protect them. ShotSpotter is a vehicle, not a perfect vehicle, but definitely a critical technology that enables the cops to respond in real time. And if they're responding more in areas, in these poorer communities, they're responding because that's where the shots are being fired.
It's Paul Vallas. Where do we read this?
You can read it in Illinois Policy. Just Google Illinois Policy, and there's a little section that called Research. And if you go to the top of the page, you'll see the article. Just Google Illinois Policy, and then look at the research section, and it's got not only my articles, but all the other articles that come out weekly by Illinois Policy.
All right, it's Paul Vallas. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Paul Vallas.